Have you ever pondered on the question, if you want to get to a certain point, you must first get halfway there, but to get halfway there you must first get a quarter of the way there, and so on. So how does movement ever occur? Welcome to the enigmatic world of Zeno's paradoxes. Zeno, an ancient Greek philosopher from the 5th century BCE, was a master of paradoxes. He was a student of Parmenides, another Eleatic philosopher who argued that change, motion, and plurality were all illusory. In the same vein, Zeno argued for the impossibility of change and motion. Zeno's paradoxes were not just mind-boggling riddles. They were thought experiments designed to challenge our understanding of reality. They questioned the very essence of our sensory experiences, daring us to trust our eyes and ears, or to follow the relentless logic of his arguments. One of the most famous of Zeno's paradoxes is the paradox of dichotomy, also known as the paradox of infinite division. This paradox presents the idea that to reach any point, one must first reach the halfway point. But to reach that halfway point, one must first reach the quarterway point, and so on. This leads to an infinite series of steps that must be taken to reach any point, suggesting that movement is impossible. This paradox, like many of Zeno's other paradoxes, seems to contradict our everyday experience. We see movement all around us, yet Zeno's paradoxes suggest that this movement is an illusion. This raises deep and perplexing questions about the nature of reality and our perception of it. Zeno's paradoxes have puzzled, intrigued, and inspired philosophers, mathematicians, and thinkers for over 2 millennia. They have sparked countless debates and have led to significant advancements in philosophy and mathematics. So, next time you're about to embark on a journey, remember Zeno's paradox. The first step may be the hardest, but according to Zeno, you have an infinite number of steps to take before you even start moving. This is just a glimpse into the mind of Zeno, a philosopher who challenged our understanding of the universe. Born in the 5th century BCE, Zeno of Elea was more than just a philosopher. He was a thinker who dared to question the very fabric of reality. Hailing from the ancient Greek city of Elea, Zeno found himself under the tutelage of another Eleatic philosopher, Parmenides. Parmenides was known for his argument that change, motion, and plurality were all illusory. He believed that the entirety of the world was one, and being one thing precludes change or division. Zeno, absorbing these teachings, also argued for the impossibility of change and motion, a belief that would come to be illustrated in his famous paradoxes. But who was Zeno, really? Beyond the philosopher, he was a man of ideas, a man who dared to challenge the conventions of his time. He questioned the intuitive understanding of reality, asserting that what we perceive may not necessarily be the truth. This skepticism towards sensory perception formed the bedrock of his philosophy. His main philosophical belief revolved around monism, the concept that reality is singular and unchanging. To Zeno, change was an illusion, a deceptive trick played by our senses. He argued that the world is one, a singular entity that does not change, does not move, does not split into many. This belief, radical for his time, was a direct challenge to the sensory experiences that dictated the understanding of reality for most. Zeno's philosophy was not just about abstract, intangible ideas. His paradoxes were practical demonstrations of his belief in an unchanging world. They served as tangible, albeit perplexing, evidences of his philosophical standpoints. Zeno's life, much like his philosophy, was a testament to the power of challenging the status quo. He dared to question the sensory experiences that most took for granted. He dared to argue against the apparent reality and assert that the world is one, unchanging entity. His philosophy, his paradoxes, his life, they all echo the same message, that reality may not be as it seems, and that daring to question can lead to profound insights. Zeno's life echoes his philosophy, a testament to the power of challenging the status quo. Zeno's paradoxes were not mere intellectual exercises. They were profound challenges to the perception of reality. His paradox of the grains of millet, for instance, is a striking display of this challenge. Picture this: a single grain of millet falls to the ground, and no sound is heard. Then a full bag of millet grains is dropped, and a loud noise echoes. Zeno argued that this observation should make us question the reliability of our senses. According to Zeno, if a single grain of millet does not produce any sound when it falls, then logically, even a multitude of grains should not produce any noise. But they do, and our senses tell us so. This paradox puts forth a perplexing conundrum. Should we trust our senses, or should we rely on the logical conclusions we draw from our observations? Zeno's paradoxes were not mere riddles to be solved. They were thought-provoking questions designed to make us question the nature of reality and our understanding of it. They highlighted the complexity and the mystery of the world we live in, and our limited capacity to fully comprehend it. These paradoxes forced thinkers to engage in abstract reasoning, to go beyond the surface-level perceptions of reality, and to delve deeper into the nature of existence. They pushed philosophers to question the very foundations of their understanding, to seek out contradictions and paradoxes, and to strive for a deeper, more nuanced understanding of reality. These paradoxes were not just about grains of millet or running races, but about the fundamental nature of existence itself. They were about questioning the very fabric of reality, about challenging our assumptions and forcing us to think in new, more profound ways. These paradoxes have had a lasting impact on philosophy, shaping the course of philosophical inquiry for centuries. They continue to inspire philosophers and thinkers, pushing them to question, to reason, and to seek a deeper understanding of the world. Zeno's paradoxes continue to serve as a rich source of philosophical inquiry, pushing us to question our understanding of reality. Zeno's paradoxes remind us that the world is far more complex and mysterious than it appears on the surface, that our understanding of reality is always evolving, and that the quest for knowledge is never-ending. Zeno's paradoxes were not just about challenging perceptions, they were also a pioneering contribution to the art of dialectics. This ancient Greek philosopher, through his paradoxes, laid the groundwork for a philosophical approach that would be instrumental in the works of many thinkers to come. Dialectics, at its core, is a method of argument for resolving disagreement, which is achieved through rational debate and contradictory arguments. It's a dance of the mind, a back and forth between opposing ideas, aiming to reach a higher truth. And this is precisely where Zeno's paradoxes shine. His paradoxes, with their seemingly contradictory assertions, compel us to engage in this mental dance, to question, to argue, and ultimately, to think deeper. What makes Zeno's contribution to dialectics even more impressive is the ripple effect it had on later philosophers. Let's take Plato, for instance, the classical Greek philosopher who was deeply influenced by Zeno's paradoxes. Plato's dialogues, which present opposing ideas in conversation, are a testament to the dialectical method. In fact, Zeno's influence on Plato was so profound that Zeno himself appears as a character in one of Plato's dialogues. Another philosopher who was indirectly influenced by Zeno was Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, a German philosopher from the 19th century. Hegel's dialectics, which argued that thinking evolved by working through contradictions, can be seen as a more developed form of Zeno's paradoxical approach. Hegel's philosophy, in many ways, is a testament to Zeno's dialectical legacy. So, Zeno, through his paradoxes, didn't just introduce us to the perplexing world of dialectics. He also laid the groundwork for philosophers like Plato and Hegel, who would go on to refine and expand upon these methods of argument and reasoning. This is a testament to the enduring relevance and influence of Zeno's paradoxes. As we explore these paradoxes and their implications, we are participating in a tradition of philosophical inquiry that has been passed down through the centuries. We are partaking in a dialectical discourse that started with Zeno's paradoxes and continues to this day. Zeno's paradoxes thus not only question our understanding of reality, but also shape the way we engage in philosophical discourse. Now let's delve deeper into the paradoxes that have baffled and fascinated thinkers for centuries. First, the arrow paradox. This paradox suggests that motion, as we perceive it, does not exist. Zeno posits that time is divisible into moments. When we consider an arrow in flight, we can freeze any given moment. In that moment, the arrow is not moving. It simply occupies a space. So if every moment is a snapshot of stillness, How can we account for the arrow's journey from the bow to the target? The arrow paradox makes us question our understanding of motion and time. Next, the Achilles paradox. Imagine a race between the mighty Achilles and a humble tortoise. The tortoise gets a head start. By the time Achilles reaches the tortoise's starting point, the tortoise has moved ahead, albeit slightly. Now, when Achilles reaches this new position, the tortoise has moved again. No matter how fast Achilles runs, every time he reaches where the tortoise was, the tortoise is always a bit further ahead. This paradox challenges our perception of space and motion. It seems logically impossible for Achilles to ever overtake the tortoise, yet our everyday experience tells us otherwise. The beauty of Zeno's paradoxes lies in their simplicity. They use common everyday scenarios to challenge our most basic assumptions about reality. These paradoxes force us to question the reliability of our senses and the nature of the universe. They push us to think beyond the obvious, to question what we take for granted, and yet they do not offer clear answers. Instead, they open up a world of philosophical inquiry. They present us with puzzles that are not meant to be solved, but to be pondered. They encourage us to engage in the act of questioning, to embrace the mystery and uncertainty of our world. The paradoxes of Zeno, though perplexing, serve as a reminder of the power of questioning, pushing us to grapple with the mysteries of the universe.